Yeah. Buddha Peso. Smoking Mirrors Uncut. Listen, it's Smoking Mirrors. Raw and uncut, it's Smoking Mirrors. You know what's up. It's Smoking Mirrors. Raw and uncut, it's Smoking Mirrors. You know what's up. Yeah. It's Smoking Mirrors. Raw and uncut, it's Smoking Mirrors. You know what's up. It's Smoking Mirrors. You know you hear us. Listen, Smoking Mirrors be the station. Them boys uncut raw, no hesitation. Just tune in, the vibes are so amazing. It's all real talk here, that's word to Jason. Shout out to J Lee, them boys on a mission. Gunning for the #1 spot, pay attention. Knocking out the competition, Sonny listen. In Detroit, serving game like a piston. Shot clock, jump shot, all net with a feeling. The squad set it off, cause a riot in the building. Syndicates to bed, this ain't suited for the children. And talking cheap when they speak, you see millions. Turn it up one time. If you looking for smoke, then pull it up online. It's right there. Look in the mirror, first glance, it's quite clear. That BMore got them scared like a nightmare. They blowing smoke through any city, take a flight there. And guaranteed to ring bells like a bike fair. Then Debo the whole set, they don't fight fair. Cause Smoking Mirrors gaining buzz like a light, yeah. You know? Raw and uncut, Smoking Mirrors, you know what's up. Smoking Mirrors, raw and uncut, Smoking Mirrors, you know what's up. Yeah, it's Smoking Mirrors, raw and uncut, Smoking Mirrors, you know what's up. It's Smoking Mirrors. You know you hear us.
What up, my peoples? Welcome to another beautiful edition of Smoking Mirrors Uncut. It's your boy Detroit. Chip. I'm here with the Kings, BMore,
you,
J Lee.
Yo, what's up?
We got a whole host of guests, man. We like the Wu-Tang Clan up in here, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The RZA, the Jizza, Spectre Deck. Oh, everybody's up in here today, man. So we got 3 guests with us. We have Go-To, Mr. Gordon. How you doing, sir?
Yeah. Doing good. Can't complain. Thanks for inviting me on today.
No doubt. Good to see you, homie. And we got a couple with us. The first time we had a couple, a married couple. Mr. Marc, how you doing, sir?
What's up?
Miss Sheena, how you doing, sir? Excuse me, ma'am.
I was about to say.
You heard that, right?
You already starting off wrong.
My bad. Like I said, it's the first time we had a married couple on the show. Very excited to have them two on it with us. We're going to touch on some relationship issues where they can speak upon with J Lee and BMore and Gordo. We get to it.
First off, yo.
Yeah.
What's good?
Washington changing that name, bro.
Oh.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I was going to get to it, man. We're gonna,
okay. We'll get to it.
We'll get to it right now. A couple house cleaning issues right now. First, I'd like to thank Drew Holiday, his wife. They are starting a social justice fund. He's taking the last bit of money he's going to make in the NBA and donating it to his social justice fund. That's in the upwards of $5.3 million. So thank you. Appreciate you, homie. He plays for the Pelicans, by the way. Wow. Also, what Jay Lee just said, the Washington racial slurs are changing their name. Finally, that jackass. What's up, cuzzy? Finally, that jackass, Daniel Snyder, finally decided to do the right thing. Like I said, it's not because he wants to do it, because the money's running low. So, regardless, it's getting done. A couple names out there that's been thrown around. I know they're talking about the Tuskegee Airmen. What their nickname was, the Red Tails. I know they talked about that before.
Oh wow!
They also talk about the Red Wolves. So it's a couple names out there.
That Red Wolf name is dumb.
Yeah.
What's a Red Wolf? I'm confused.
I have no idea.
What do you mean?
What's a Red Wolf?
A wolf that's red.
Okay.
Yeah, wolf that's red.
A fox.
Yeah. So there's a couple other names out there, but I would love them to go with the Red Tails. Not only because the military thing, also it's honoring the Tuskegee Airmen who fought for this country. So why not have that name?
They got crazy stats too. You mean not to cut you off, but they got Red Tails got crazy stats.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
As far as kills in the war, yes.
Oh, you're talking about that.
They represent
protecting those bombers. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I don't know if anyone cares, but baseball is coming back. We'll be back next week. Like I said, if anybody cares, baseball will be back next week. So tune in. Sports is coming back. Basketball is coming back, even though they got the airline food down there right now, still coming back. I don't know if y'all saw it online, but the food down there doesn't look too pleasant. It's like box lunches down there.
Really?
Yeah. That'd be all right.
Yeah. Also, giving a shout out to all the people in the front line. COVID is still running rampant. We have 2 nurses right here. This couple right here. Whoop whoop. We appreciate y'all in the front lines, man. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all. Without you guys, who knows how this virus will be just spreading? So we do definitely appreciate you guys. Thank you.
I commend Marc on being a male nurse, period, because that's a tough job, bro.
Yeah.
It's a tough job.
It's a job like any other job.
Yeah. But it's not many of you guys out there, you know, so it's dope that you can do it. And I can't take seeing blood and a bunch of other stuff. So you can have that, bro.
But see, what people don't know is in nursing, there's so many facets of nursing that not everybody works in a hospital. Neither one of us work he works in a hospital, but he works in a mental health unit where I do community nursing. So I don't work in a hospital setting. I go to people's houses after they get out of the hospital. So there's so many different facets of nursing. Not everybody deals with blood and guts. I think I deal with blood and guts more than he does.
Okay.
No.
But I mean, it's a great field. It's a field definitely to be honored.
Definitely.
For sure.
Oh, and you deserve it. Honestly, you deserve it.
Absolutely.
Do y'all talk about it when y'all get home?
Huh?
Do y'all talk about the job y'all had when y'all get home, or do y'all just try to?
Of course they do.
Every day. Every day. Say, how was your day? And we talk about everything. If it was crazy, if it was good, weird stuff, dirty stuff.
Now, because I know some people, when they have the same occupation, they don't want to talk about it when they get home. So that's cool for y'all.
No, we talk about it all.
It's dope because she can understand. She can understand some of the crazy stories that I got, and I can understand some of the crazy stories that she got, where we would be boring somebody else that don't know nothing about it.
Yeah,
right. Okay.
Jason, like your wife is a nurse, and I know you probably don't even want to hear half of the stuff she talks about.
I got no choice. My
wife is an ultrasound tech. Same thing.
Yeah,
we hear it nonstop.
Yeah. Well, it's a good way for you guys to decompress after a long day of seeing ill people, Plus, being in the same field, it's easy to, like you said, it's easier to talk about certain issues that I wouldn't know about. So,
yeah.
But like I said, man, big ups to both of you guys, man. I definitely do appreciate you. But last but not least, still to this day, they have not charged the murderers of Breonna Taylor. So let's keep that fight going. We had a couple individuals get arrested today, protesting down there. Kenny Stills, my son, YBN Corday, they got arrested, but they're out of jail right now. But we're gonna keep that good fight going. Someone needs to get arrested for that murder, because it was definitely a murder.
Let's not forget about Elijah McClain either.
I mean, there's plenty.
Yeah.
Sandra Bland.
Absolutely.
Let's reopen Tamir Rice's case. Let's do them all. Why not? So there's plenty. So speaking about plenty, there's plenty of things that happened in the past couple of days. My boy Will Smith, man.
Yeah.
Probably one of the more perfect individuals around, right? That we thought was around in Hollywood. But he's married to Jada, right?
Oh shoot.
And I think Jada might have slipped up a little bit. I'm not sure.
You gonna do it like that?
I'm not sure. I'm just saying. I am just saying. I'm not, I'm not pointing fingers.
Yeah.
I'm not pointing fingers, Jada, but I'm just saying. Some things that happened, though. You know, I'm sure everyone's pretty familiar about what happened the past couple of days, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The world is
story everywhere.
The world is.
So let's go to the couple first. I actually want to go to Sheena first.
How did I know you were going to come to me first?
I mean, it's a bunch of testosterone up on here. You know what I mean? You're the only estrogen in here, so I might as well ask you first. So, how do you feel about what transpired in the past couple of days between the two?
So I think that the first misconception is what you led with, Will being like one of the most perfect guys, and a lot of people had an image of that couple that, you know, they didn't put on themselves. They've had a bunch of different interviews where they said they've made themselves transparent as to all the struggles that they've gone through and how they navigate their own relationship. So that's just like when people post all of those Instagram goals, when they see couples together, they say, oh, this is goals. I want to have a house like this. I want to have a family like this. I want to have a marriage like this. But you're not in that marriage, so you don't really know what's going on. All you see is that picture or that brief interview. So as far as saying that, you know, Will seems to be a perfect, you know, male figure of a husband is, I think, already false. And Jada, I think the same for her. I think her kind of being vulnerable and putting the situation out there is her truth, as well as nobody, you know, everybody can interpret it 50,000 ways, but none of us were there. So we don't know the whole story behind Will and Jada's marriage, number one. And, you know, the only thing that I find questionable is how August Alsina came in. We had this conversation before. That's why
I see him putting his eye at you right now. I see the look right now.
I'm dying to hear from Marc right now.
Let me finish my because we've had this and we kind of disagree. So my interpretation of the interview that Will and Jada had together is that Will didn't know that she had the affair. I think he just found out when August Alsina put their business out there, that he found out that it was actually an affair. And I think that they were doing damage control by pretty much saying that they were separated, which could very well be true. That's the age-old story with, you know, we were on a break, we were broke up, we were separated, we were going through a hard time, we weren't on good terms. When people have affairs, it's not new. All of the affairs that happen usually happen when the actual marriage is kind of having a hard time. Yeah. And it's always somebody that's close to you, whether it's your coworker, your homegirl, your homeboy, an ex who is always on speed dial. It's always somebody you know. It's not somebody that's strange. It's never like, I'm not saying never, but it's very rare that it's a one-night stand. So I think that by his body language, I think that he was just as blindsided by the affair as everybody else was when August Alsina put it out there. I think that Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, so I think that he was a little upset at the fact that she may have not been as truthful about her relationship with him, even when they were on a break. Not that she had the relationship with him, is that she wasn't straight up about it years ago.
Okay.
And so my second point is, I think Jada was wrong because I think that she took advantage of August Alsina mental issues, and if she's supposed to be the helper, then she violated that trust relationship by having a sexual relationship with him. That's almost the same thing as I'm cool with you guys. I really like you guys. We all clicked on, you know, the conversation and everything like that. But if I had a conversation and you get really, you know, in depth about your personal business and you guys like were trying to screw me, it violates that trust relationship. So it's almost like she took advantage of his issues and kind of smooth dealt with her issues that she was having with her marriage. So I think that she was out of line on that end. But I mean, that's pretty much the cycle of an affair. It's a classic affair.
Okay. Let me ask your husband real quick, because I seen his eyes squinting.
You saw that?
Yeah, I seen all kinds of stuff going over there. Yeah, actually,
we talked about this the other day. My position is I take them at face value. I don't know what's going on with in their life. If they're willing to come out and say, this is what happened, I don't know it to not be true. So I think that Will did know. There's been all these rumors about them having an open relationship for years. If that's what it is, that's what it is. I don't know how that works. I could never be in an open relationship. What's mine is mine. I'm not trying to share.
Exactly, Nicole.
But as far as what are we trying to assign blame? Like who was wrong, who was right? I don't know. If it's cool with Will, if it's cool with all, if they all cool with it, then what they eat don't make me shit.
So Marc, you think it's the story is right? He co-signed that Will co-signed that affair.
That's what they're telling me. I don't have any information to say that's not true.
And I don't believe that. I think they're both actors, and they're going to say whatever they need to say for damage control.
Interesting.
Will is the better actor of the two. So if anybody's acted and getting one over,
you didn't see Stoney. Stoney killed that role. Jada is a good actress.
All right, we're not even about to get into that.
Obviously, she was a good enough actress to hide that whole affair.
She was real good in Jason's lyric, so.
Yeah, especially that one scene.
I mean, I think that they're doing whatever they got to do to let you know that they're humans like everybody else. They're real people like everybody else. Mm-hmm. So that affair is a classic affair. It's no different than.
But was it affair? Like if they have an open marriage, is it an affair? You know what I mean?
That's a good question.
Like, did he know about it?
If that's the case, if it was an open marriage to say that it wasn't an affair, then why were you on outs? Why did they say that they were separated?
Well, they didn't get into that. They were selective in what they were going to be honest about.
So that's why I believe that.
They said, it happened. She said, it happened because it was already out there. So she gets credit for being honest when she's only, doing damage control.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that, because the whole time I got the feeling like you bringing all these people to the Red Talk table and they bearing their souls. They're giving you everything, and when it comes time for you to do it, I felt like it was weak. I didn't even come out as intent. What is that?
Yeah.
Will wanted her to put it all out there. He was like, "What exactly is an entanglement?"
That's something like she didn't bear soul like she wanted everybody else to do. I felt as though it was kind of phony. If you ask me, I do think Will kind of gave some raw emotions. If you ask me as well. But I'm glad you said that, because that's what I saw out of that.
Yeah, I mean, but that's everybody. You ain't going to just volunteer information that you think is going to damage your marriage.
Nah, I think if they had Miss Ayanla on there, she would have really went in.
My thing is this, then what's the point of having a Red Talk table?
Huh?
What's the point of having a Red Talk table if you're not going to bear it all?
Well,
or just say, I'm not giving up this information.
Nah, Will wasn't a good interviewer for that. It should have been somebody. It should have been another party questioning her.
Well, if y'all followed the Red Talk table, she had a therapist on there that was talking about affairs and having relationships that you heal from and you move on from, even after an affair. And she talked about how. Her and Will had some of their difficult times in their marriage. So it's no secret that neither one of them have been, absolutely monogamous or faithful to each other during their marriage. So she made that clear before.
Okay.
I just think that she didn't give it as much energy as everybody was expecting her to give, and rightfully so. I mean, it's really nobody else's business, no more than August Alsina shouldn't have said nothing about it. Like,
he did it for record sales.
He is not the one to have an affair with, obviously.
Yep, he did it for record sales. And plus, but check it out. This happened years ago. They already healed from it.
Well,
they had moved on.
Obviously, he didn't.
He didn't heal.
Oh well, but see, that's what y'all. But listen,
Yeah,
that's what happened when you mess with young boys.
Yeah, she put
But
it on.
that happened. But how many times have y'all been in a relationship and something you done hit off years ago pop up on the scene trying to say, "Oh, I hit that," or "I used to mess with him," or
Never.
you know what I mean? Because they're hating on the space that you're in, or they're they're pretty much. Not, jealous, or maybe they're feeling some kind of way that maybe you treat the new woman well, or, or the new man well, or, wanting to throw a little dirt on your name. Everybody been there.
Oh, yeah. But he felt.
I have.
But listen, August felt some type way because she went back to her husband at the end of the day. They separated. She realized that he was for her. Her husband was for her. She went back.
Really? What you got to say, Detroit?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to Gordon. Gordon, what you got, brother?
Nah.
Let's give it to Gordon. I want to give it to Gordon because he hasn't spoken yet. Go ahead, Gordon.
Nah, I was just gonna say that I feel like August Alsina, I feel like he's a victim to a degree because Jada, she said that she was there to heal him. So it seems that he had some kind of Florence Nightingale effect, where the victim falls in love with the healer, the doctor, or whatever like that. And he's young, and because he has the immaturity, he doesn't really know how to contain his emotions and all that. So, because he's a public figure, yeah, he spoke on it because, he probably had some people in his ear saying, "Oh, this will get our numbers up."
Yes.
And
can I ask you, did anybody actually see the video footage or the interview where he spoke about it?
Yes.
Okay, because I think that kind of gives a better context. It wasn't like he actually blurted out, and if you hear what he said, it didn't seem like it was malicious or like he was just like, "Yo, I'm about to put this out there." To me,
well, Angela, she kind of pushed it on him, and he answered the question.
Well, that's not
if you see how
and that's what she did her job. She did her job by pulling out that information out of him.
True, but that's not the first time he's actually spoken on it though. That was like the second time he spoke publicly about their relationship. You know what I mean? Then he came up with that song Nunya or whatever that was, alluding to Jada and everything like that, where he spoke on her middle name being Corey, Korea or Corin or something like that. Anyway, but outside of that, you haven't seen it? Oh yeah, it's a pretty decent song. It's called Nunya. But anyway, and for Will, I think that Will did know about it. I feel like what?
She said, "Is it really gonna get his numbers up?" I think it will because I'm hearing more and more people play his albums now because of this.
Yeah. So yeah. What was the last time you said August Alsina?
Exactly.
Right.
Tonight.
Will and Jada is definitely a bigger couple than Jay and Ben.
His name is in a lot of people's mouth right now. So a lot of people. There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Exactly.
Right. True. Now, and what I was going to say about Will, I feel like Will did know about it. I mean, Will, they've caught him, doing interesting things with some of his fellow actresses and things like that. Behind the scenes, they have pictures of him, damn near nude with some of his actresses when they, not on set and stuff like that. So, and I've heard for years too that they've had an open relationship. So, I think that, his kind of face of, his sulking face during the interview, I think that was more so good acting and or, he's salty that, it's now public where they actually have to talk about it. But like BMore said, I feel like they had some PR involved because I don't really feel like they were being 100% transparent with the public.
Yeah, I think they try to get ahead of it, just like everybody was saying, like before this turns into a wildfire, let's address it. And they started it off pretty much saying that we weren't going to address it, but we have to address it.
Yeah.
But,
I'm sorry,
because Jada got sloppy with her side piece, so they had to address it.
Pick the wrong one.
Yo, all right.
My man, like she brought him in, right? Supposedly he had mental issues. He needed some healing and blah blah blah. So, all right, was she a predator at that point?
No.
Let me ask you that question. Was she a predator at that point?
No. Listen, I'm gonna say why I don't feel as though she was a predator.
Okay.
Because just like she said, she hadn't felt good in so long.
Okay.
She was in a very vulnerable position. Now, if you put two vulnerable people together, that's making for a perfect storm.
Thank you.
A perfect
She
storm.
has more to lose in this situation than August does.
Yes.
So
Yes.
for her to engage in that relationship was putting herself at risk, especially with this young boy.
Yes.
But she just got caught up. She let her emotions and then juices get flowing. Next thing you know, it went a little too far.
Yeah.
Technically, we all
I think if anything, she didn't give him a non-disclosure because I think, like I said, I think Will and Jada, they've been swinging for a minute now. So
you're saying that, but they never admitted to that. They never said they were swingers or they had open marriage. This is everybody else putting that out there in the air.
That's my point. I'm like, we going on all these different scenarios, not really knowing everything. You know what I mean?
Who knew they was broke up for 4 years? Nobody knew that.
Nobody.
See what I'm saying?
So that's just it's so many different variables, and we can all have our own opinion on it. But I only drew my conclusion based off of my own experiences or based off of people that we know. Mm-hmm. But it sounds like a typical affair.
Yep, it is. It is.
It's no different than almost every affair that you'll hear about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. That and this brings me to my point about the whole thing. Everybody got something to say about it, but my thing is,
oh my God!
I got a question. All right, so
hold on. My question is for you. If you think Will was acting, tell me this: what was the point of that? If you really believe he's acting, what does that do for him? Acting like he's hurt.
I mean,
why would he do it?
I mean, if he's acting like he's hurt and everything like that, I mean, Will, he has a huge fan base. So, that's going to keep people like, Will this, Will that. It's going to keep that cushion of fan base behind him. If he was just like straight up like, girl, you tripping and smiling and joking and stuff, I mean, I don't think people would really side with him as much as they would. Like, people have a vulnerability for people that are crying, that are vulnerable, that are weak, or that are sensitive. That's like 101 in relationships. The one that, like, for example, if a man and a woman get into a tussle, and let's say the woman beats the dude, the guy still, more than likely, people will look at the guy as, he's the brute. He shouldn't have been hitting her anyway. She could have started and everything, right? Because they look at the woman as being more vulnerable. Does that make sense?
I mean, I hear what you're saying. I don't think people would look at that any different if Jada's already admitting that she's doing something.
But this is the thing.
Not feeling like he's crying. I don't think that does anything for him. I just wanted to know your take on that.
I just think it's a vulnerability stance, but I mean, I could be wrong too. It's all speculation.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Right.
What was you gonna say, Sheena?
But did you catch the comment that he made when he says, "I'm gonna have to get you back"? And her response was, "I think you got me back enough."
Yes.
So that lets you know that he's not the victim. Maybe I don't think that he was blindsided by the affair. Like I said, I think that he was just more disappointed or disappointed in the fact that she wasn't as open about it as maybe they have an agreement. Like, no matter what it is, tell me about it. We can work through it. And that's been their whole image. Their whole image has been transparency, honesty. No matter what it is, we'll deal with it. And
so you don't think when they say, hey, we both we don't lie to one another, you don't think that's a true statement then?
No, because I think that she got caught in a lie. Okay. So before they came to the Red Talk table, she probably was giving him, I was there for him. Maybe it got a little appropriate. Anytime somebody admits to all we did was kiss, 9 times out of 10, they were screwing. So I think that she hit him with that, like maybe 4 years ago. Like, it got a little inappropriate. We did kiss. It kind of got out of hand, so I stopped it. And that's probably the narrative she was going with for all that time. Mm-hmm. And then when August Alsina put it out there, like, oh no, I was hitting it, I was in love with her. Now she has to tell more of the story. So I think that that's what caught him off guard. He's like, come on, Jada, you told me all y'all did was kiss.
Yeah.
See,
So that's what I see.
Or he just said,
I think it's a non-disclosure agreement. That's the problem. That they didn't have that.
I think that emotion that he had there was disappointment and embarrassment.
Oh yeah,
embarrassment that he got to sit up here and talk about his wife's affair.
Yeah.
And disappointment that she done screwed up. Like you're supposed to do better than that.
Yeah.
Like even if we out here having jump offs, you're supposed to be better than that.
Yes.
Ain't none of my jump offs on the news.
You're supposed to control. You're supposed to.
And now he done ran his mouth.
Yeah,
and now I'm up here.
You're supposed to control your side piece.
Control your hose. Keep it in tight.
Look how you got me out here looking.
So the irony of that, if you guys remember, that was my biggest issue. Speaking of our divorces, when it came out when I got divorced, it was more so I was mad at the embarrassment. You embarrassed me. You got me out here thinking we good, and you got a whole side hoe and a baby. You know, I was embarrassed. So that's, I think, just like he said, that's where Will was at. You know, like now I got to answer to people who wouldn't be in our relationship, who thought it was all good, who, you know, who understood that we are who we are. And now you out here playing me. You know what I mean?
Or who know more about what's going on than you.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother thing too.
Yeah.
So I got a question. Being that I think we coming to a conclusion that both Jada and Augie, they were both broken at that time, right? They were kind of broken beings at that time, right?
Sure.
So she was explaining that sex kind of helped her get through her what she needed to get through. She needed that, right? Make me feel good, right? So is sex, can it be therapeutic and detrimental at the same time, or can it be like, is there a separation between the two?
No,
like
it's all of the above.
Sex.
So for them at that time, it was definitely therapeutic, right? At that time, and it became detrimental. But can it be separated? Can the two be separated? Can it be one or the other, or is it both at the same time?
It depends on the person.
Go ahead, Sheena. Let me ask you, Sheena.
It depends on the person. It depends on the situation. It depends on why you're broken. It's the same question that you would ask somebody who does drugs or alcohol. Can they be separated? You know what I mean? It depends on the situation. If I'm sleeping with somebody because the person that I love and I care about was sleeping with somebody, then I'm sleeping with somebody else in response to that. Like I'm trying to heal my hurt and at the same time, you know, deal with, you know, this feeling of loss and anger and pain and, you know, hurt, all of these things. So to say, can they be separated? Now, if I had an affair or if I want to sleep with somebody for self-gratification, I'm not healing anything. I'm being selfish.
Well, you might be healing something, but it's a different kind of heal, maybe.
I mean, I am with sex as a cure-all. I am all for sex can fix an argument. Sex can, you know, even if you're mad, let's have sex and then we'll talk about it afterwards and we'll figure it out. If not, we won't. You know, I don't know. It just depends on the person and depends on the situation.
Okay. Gordo, what you got, man?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be therapeutic, but then at the same time, I think it could be separated because you got cats that's like, you know, pimps up, hoes down. You know, we don't let them hoes, you know. They get in there, you know, use the girl like a toilet, and then they out, you know. So there's no feelings, no emotions, no nothing. And then you have some people that, you know, they have that intimate attachment to where they lingering and craving and addicted to that person, you know. So, I you know, there's so many variables with that. So I guess it all depends on the people involved.
Mr. Marc, you got something on that? I see your brain. I see the wheels moving a little bit.
Nah, I mean, it like she said, it depends on the person and the situation. You know, sex is good for what ails you in a lot of situations. But you know, it could be bad depending on who you having sex with. You know, it seems like Jada picked the wrong one. You know, if she had picked better, if she had chosen better, they wouldn't be talking about that, and we wouldn't be talking about it either.
Yeah.
Well, the same sex is can it be separated? It's the same reasons why people go outside of their marriage and relationships, and the same reason people stay in them. You can have a horrible mate or an asshole girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, and you stay because sex is good, or you hold on to hope because the sex is good. You can keep the same jump off for 20 years because the sex is good, but you don't want to leave your main thing or your steady thing because you know that that's solid. That's where you want to be. So to say some people can separate it, yes, but the same reasons why you go out of it for sex is the same reasons why you stay in it for sex.
Okay. Okay. Jay Lee, I see you smirking. What you got?
Always smirking. Yo, I agree with everybody, yo. Seriously, it's everything. It's everything, and whatever you want at the same time. You know, use it for therapy, use it for healing, use it for whatever you want. You know, and I think it can be separated depending on the person, how strong the person is. Some people can't have sex without falling in love. You know, some people can have sex all day long and they're not connected to you at all. It depends on how you control it.
It could be a cure-all or a weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. It could be a detriment to your mental health, and I think that's what later on happened to August because he was already broken. She probably more broken than what she was, and then she put it on him, and it just got worse and worse, and he just fell so far deep that he couldn't really pull himself back.
I mean, and Jada's a vet in the game too. August is young, he's just a
he's a baby. He's a baby.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, she threw it on him.
I don't even think it was just about the sex that had him so hooked. I think she got in his head.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
She got in his head.
She hit him with them big words and stuff.
Yeah, you already know.
Everything I ever wanted.
I'm moving. You know how she is.
Yeah.
I'm moving through this.
She called him the young lion.
Yeah. Y'all see her on the red table. She's mesmerizing at times. You're just like, wow, really?
Yeah.
I am broken. That's how you be. So yeah.
I mean, and she's a beautiful woman. So
I mean,
it's easy.
I'm sure he infatuated her from a young kid, so he got a chance to be with her. Come on. That's why everybody's blaming her, but he was 25.
So are we saying August is a victim here? Is that what we're saying?
I never said he was a victim. I never said for real. Nah, a lot of people felt like, there's a lot of mentally ill people walking around here today that's functioning. So I'm not buying that. Oh, he's mentally ill. He's a victim.
Yes, there is.
Nah.
I think he could have done a lot worse.
I think from the standpoint of him being youthful, I think he could be victimized because she's a veteran.
He's 25.
I mean,
I was in an entanglement.
I was 22 when they got together.
I was in an entanglement.
I was in an entanglement when I was 18 with a 36-year-old. You know what? I think I was a victim.
You know exactly what you was doing.
I was a victim.
I was a victim.
Totally different though. Your circumstances, totally different.
What's the difference?
Hey, look. But I have a question for Jay Lee because we was having this, debate of sorts on Facebook. So he said that Will and Jada's relationship is dope, but he said it's not just from the security aspect. So now that he's not typing, Jay, what's the dopeness of it?
The dopeness was how they can address this situation like grown people. There's no animosity. They're not bashing August Alsina. They're not bashing each other. They're working through this. They're showing how grown people are supposed to do relationships.
I don't know. I don't know. In that little clip, they were saying something about his mental health, that he was so broken.
No, they just said he was sick. I didn't consider that.
You don't see that. You don't see that as a little bit of a drag, a little bit of shade.
He's already admitted to that.
Yeah, he admitted to that.
Where was his state? So she didn't bash him.
No.
She just pretty much said that this is how fast it spiraled out of control.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, and they got on there and they worked through it. You can see this happened years ago. And since then, they got the red table. They did all these positive things to show how a marriage is supposed to work through. Like people separate all the time. Look at Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union. They separated. He went out and made a whole baby, and they got right back together and they moved on.
We ain't doing that.
Okay. Let's switch up a little bit, right? Because you told us a little bit about your story, Miss Sheena. So, y'all, unfortunately, kind of have the experience of both being married, you and Marc.
Marc, you was married too?
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. Hold it. We're about to hear a little bit. That's why I want to preface this right now. So, coming out of those marriages and finding one another. And I'm going to tell you, just for me, I don't know about nobody else, but just for me, y'all give people hope. Y'all gave, you know what I mean? So, and that's dope.
How long have you ever been married?
Actually love the fact that y'all are so happy and found each other. And I know, it's still work between y'all, as anything, but I just love seeing that. So can we hear maybe a little bit about that?
Gordon asks how long y'all been married so far.
So we've only been married. This year is coming up on our 3rd anniversary. We've only been together for
golf clap.
Yeah. We've only been together for 4 years. But both of us were in long-term marriages and relationships before we got with each other. So I was married for 13 years, but I was with my ex-husband for 20 years, almost 20 years, since I was about 17.
Wow.
And
I was married for 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it was rough.
So,
I can see
and so that's the thing. Like our stories are actually very different. Whereas I was in a content marriage. I didn't have a bad marriage. I just had a bad ending. And more so, like I said, I was blindsided. I was taken back from it. But I knew what I couldn't tolerate based off of what I went through, early on in our relationship before we got married. I knew what I couldn't tolerate. So that was the deal breaker for me. But on his end.
Yeah, my marriage was bad for a long time. But, for a number of different reasons, my childhood and, my pops not being around, I had kids early. So my choice was I made this decision as a young man to be married and to start this family. I'm going to stick it out. So I stayed in a marriage that neither one of us were happy in for a long time.
Bad marriages for life.
Yeah. So I on the other end had exceptions. My parents were together for like 37 years, and I had this, image in my head that I'm going to be married forever. All my kids got the same dad, and it just was, what I wanted it to be. And I worked hard to keep my marriage where it was. I worked hard, but I was probably in my 30s when I realized that my ex-husband was not who I should be with, because I just felt like I was just growing apart from him. But, he was my friend. So I felt like, well, as long as we can keep this together, then we can raise our children together and it'll work out. Yeah. But not for nothing. Even though I was blindsided, I was like, whew, messed up now. I'm out, I'm out. So it was an easy decision for me. It took me 90 days and I was divorced. Do I hate my ex-husband? No, I do not.
Were you looking for a way out? Then if you say that, were you looking for a way out? If you say it like that, then just
not for nothing. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So do y'all have like a blended marriage where y'all exes are intertwined in y'all life today, or y'all completely separated? God.
Not so welcome. They'll be around, but it's not a big happy family at all. My ex is the absolute worst. It gives us as much trouble as she possibly can at any opportunity.
Every opportunity. And I ain't here for it.
Yeah.
But
that's what brings y'all close too, because I'm telling you, Sheena's there for it. I'm like, oh shoot.
Oh yeah, I'm with the shit. I am with it. Soon as she act up, I'll be like, let's get it. Because I am ready, set, go, bitch.
And Marc appreciated that much more. I know it. He'd be like, "Look, what you want tonight, baby?
You want that lobster?
No,
I
mean, you know what? No, it's actually not a good thing because I had to learn how to tone myself down from responding to a lot of stuff that, you know, the energy that his ex-wife was bringing, because it was causing more stress on him. And I'm not here to be his stressor. I'm here to be his peace. So on that note, you know, he had to calm me down because he know how to deal with it. Whereas this is new for me.
He got years of experience.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I had to learn. He'll be like, "Don't say nothing." I'll be like, "The hell with that?"
I've been ignoring her ass for years.
Bro, I know you're feeling. You're a calm person anyway.
Yeah, he's like too calm, and I'm like, "You ain't gonna say nothing? You let that bitch say what?" Nope. And you know, like him, he be like, "Don't even waste your time." But me, I'll be like, "Shit, tell her to say one more thing."
Well, you got time today, huh?
Every day. But the good thing about it is,
we'll keep the light on for you.
I have no drama with my ex-husband.
Okay.
None. And you know, my situation is, you know, he had a baby by his mistress, and they're still together. She's good to my kids, and that's my take on it. Like, you know, it is what it is. You know, you can keep him, but do right by my kids. And he does the best he can, and that's enough for me.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Marc, let me ask you, I hope it's not too personal. Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Being that you were in a 15-year marriage where that marriage was not very good,
right.
Did you feel the longer you were in that relationship, the more broken you became, and you had to get out of it? Like, how was your emotions within that relationship?
If you don't mind, you know, in the middle of it, no, absolutely. In the middle of it, while I was in it, you know, I'm never one to complain. You know, I look at the bright side of every situation. So while I was in it, I wasn't necessarily feeling the brokenness or the depression that, looking back, that I was actually in. You know, I was drinking a whole lot towards the end of our marriage. You know, BMore probably stumbled across me a few times. You know, I was drinking a whole lot, self-medicating, you know, dealing with a lot of the stress that marriage gave me. And, you know, just like some inner guilt, you know, because like I said, I had made that choice that I was going to stick with this marriage, but I was miserable. And then I'm juggling the guilt between, you know, staying for my kids so that they got their dad in the house. But now I'm showing them this horrible example of what love and marriage is.
Right.
So that's really what kind of finally made me turn that corner and be like, you know, I can't do this no more. I can't do this no more.
How old were your kids when you made that decision?
So my oldest son now is 17. And then I got a 13 and a 12-year-old. So this was like 4 or 5 years ago when the decision was made to get divorced.
Yeah.
So quick question, right? So listening to both of y'all stories, I'm wondering, right? Because everybody talks about our generation and the generations after us about how we're so divorce happy, right? And how families in the 50s used to stay together and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And listening to both of you, it's like both of you knew you needed it out, but you tried to stay because you wanted that traditional story of being with the person that you're with. And I'm pretty sure you felt that pressure from other people as being as though, oh, you stick it out, you work through it, you do whatever. So I'm like trying to figure out, what is that fine line you think between sticking it out and knowing that it's not for you?
So for me, like I said, we have 2 different experiences in our previous marriage. My oldest daughter was about 17 when I found out, when everything kind of hit the fan. And she was, you know, dating and getting in relationships. And I just never wanted her to feel like she had to be locked into anything. I had my oldest daughter at 19. So she was coming up on that age where I was 17 when I got with her dad, and it was all like, rainbows and unicorns, and you hope the best for the future. But I try to teach my daughters the reality of it is, you're optimistic about your future, but at the same time, take people at face value. You can't change anybody. You can't make anybody be anything that they don't want to be other than yourself. So I had to be true to myself and say, I'm staying in this marriage because I think that I'm giving this good example to my kids. But what if I would have stayed after the affair, after the kid? What example would I be giving my daughters? Mm. So that's how I kind of looked at it. And I've always been self-sufficient. It's not like I stayed because of money, because I make my own money. I own my own homes. It wasn't a matter of I needed to stay with him for any financial security. But do I teach my kids love and respect, or do I teach my kids, just to be content with what you have because you may not get anything better? This is probably the best it gets. Everybody makes mistakes. And yeah, me forgiving him for the affair was me saying everybody makes mistakes. But me making a choice to leave is saying that I choose to have, honesty and respect as my top priority. So that was my decision.
So question, do you guys teach your kids to look for red flags now? Like, were there certain red flags when you first got with your exes that you saw and that you kind of like, we'll work through it?
Yeah.
But we were both young.
Right. I mean, we'll tell our kids about red flags and this and that, and they'll listen about as much as we did when we were 20 years old.
Exactly.
True.
Right. So, but I mean, we're going to keep planting them seeds. And hopefully, it's going to grow.
I think the best thing that we can do for our kids is show them. Right. Like, so my daughter now is 22. So when she makes comments like, Mr. Marc is a great man. He's a good person. Everybody needs, she jokes with her friends all the time. And she says, my mom, she got a good one. Everybody needs a Mr. Marc in their life. And, for me, that means that she gets it without me saying anything.
Yeah.
So
I'm about to have me on here looking like Will Smith.
Hold on. Not the recent Will Smith. Maybe, a couple weeks ago Will Smith.
So I think the example is that. And like we have his oldest son here with us. And just the accolades that he gives me when he says stuff to me like, I really love you, Miss Sheena, and I really appreciate everything you do for me. It's just me being my authentic self, Marc being his authentic self. You can talk to a child till they're blue in the face, but they watch you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They watch
words.
Everything that you do, and they see, and then they can emulate that. They can pattern their lives after that. Mm-hmm. I try to do that with my parents. My dad was the best man that I've ever known in my life. And I wanted to have a marriage like my parents had. Was it perfect? No, but my dad was a great man. And they didn't have to tell me to find a man like my dad or watch out for this and watch out for that. They pretty much set the example, and that was enough.
Yeah,
it was enough.
Yeah.
And another thing this is going to be it's going to have to be a whole another one, but blended families, because that's tricky too.
Oh my God.
That's tricky too.
I think we had some stuff.
That's a whole nother episode.
All I can say is it's really nice that our kids look great in a picture. Now I think it was more me. I had like this naive image of our kids are so great, they get along so well, everything's so perfect, and then everything happens that neither one of us were prepared for. So some really great things, some not so great things. I think the best part about it is me and him have a rooted and grounded understanding that we'll deal with whatever comes together. So blended families is fun and not so fun at the same time.
Yeah. Just like
Like any other family.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like any other family.
Yeah.
I think I would say it's a little different, but I feel you.
Want to come say hi? Oh.
Yeah.
We're on a podcast. My oldest daughter came in. She's looking at me like, "What y'all doing?"
Talking about
married.
Look, this is my oldest daughter, Isis.
Can they see me?
No, they can see you now. Say hi.
Hey, Jaylee, how
It's
long
good to
you
have
been married?
working children too. That's a bonus.
That's always a bonus.
Yeah, how long you been married?
18 years.
18 years. Wow.
Yeah.
half my life.
I'm going on 6 now.
Yeah. Like when I met her, she was 19. So like we've known each other for half our lives. You know what I mean? But it's
So what has been the most difficult thing starting off young and going through the transitions of life, like maturity and situations and stressors of jobs and children? What
I like that question. I like it. I like it.
We need a whole nother episode for that. But
I like it.
But to sum it all up, I think the most stressor is just learning each other because everybody say that 5 to 7 years is when you start to learn some things about each other. Really learn. You don't really know each other. And by meeting her so young and me being so young, you still got play in you. You still got things in you that you got to get out, And we went through those phases, like especially when I started going to college, me and her started getting distant a little bit, because she was in college, living the college life, And I'm just like, I'm working, So we had to learn each other, but you grow. And the person that you marry is never going to be the person that you are with 5, 10, 15 years from now. And you have to learn that new person. You can't keep being in love with that person that you fell in love with, or it's not going to last. It's not going to last. So we had to learn to, every year, just learn each other, learn to grow and stuff like that. Learn to forgive. She might not forget, but I do. But you learn. So I think that was the main stressors, just those growing pains. That's pretty much it, really.
Yeah.
I wish I had an air horn, boy. You dropping gems.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. So how about you, Gordon?
For me, we weren't like teenagers and everything like you all said. I was 25 when I met my wife, and so, I was still fairly new out of college and everything like that. I think, like Jason said, you have to kind of learn the person, learn the individual, and each year, you're ever evolving. So, that's, kind of a continuous thing. And for me, I think the biggest thing for me is the transparency, because like my wife, and it could be just a female thing, but a lot of women are very transparent with emotions and feelings and things of that nature. And I think for me, I had to work on being so transparent. Like I've always been the type of person, like, if you don't have nothing good to say, don't say nothing at all. Men don't cry, stuff like that. My wife, she was more so like, you have an issue, it's okay for a man to cry, da 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 da. But like both of my parents, they was like, crying ain't it, both my mother and father. So, just things like that. We've been growing and maturing together, and based on a lot of stuff that y'all said, I'm seeing that now. I don't think that we've had the turbulence, because Jason said about the 7-year itch. My mother-in-law, she talked about the 7-year itch too. I don't think we've really had that kind of turbulence, because I think maybe because we started older and we were more mature, so maybe that's it. But I don't want to speak too soon, because people be like, "Oh, remember you said," So.
Nah.
How many years you been married?
I'm about to say you at 6, right?
Oh, you ain't there yet. You good?
You ain't at the 7-year itch.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want to speak too soon.
So the irony is, I got married the first time at the 7-year itch.
Ooh.
And when I got married the first time, I knew I shouldn't have got married. I knew when I got married that I was making a bad decision.
Right.
Why did you keep going through with it?
Because you had kids, right, at that time, right?
Yeah, I had my oldest daughter,
right?
And
you were making an investment for the kids.
She was already like 5, almost 6 years old, and then I was pregnant with my son. And my dad was sick, and it was a lot of things going on. And you know how you just get pressured. Like you two, BMore and Detroit, you guys aren't married yet, but I'm sure every time you see people that known you and your girlfriends for a long time, the first thing they ask is, when y'all gonna get married? So I'm actually preacher's kid, and please do not do no preacher kids jokes, okay? But
let me throw this away.
Freaks. But go ahead.
I mean,
Marc gave the amen.
But with that being said, I had a lot of pressure from that. You know, not only did I have one kid already, but I was pregnant again by the same guy, but still we weren't married.
I get you. Yeah.
So it was just a lot of pressure to get married. But when my first marriage, our first year and a half, 2 years, it was like, F this, it ain't where it's at. Kid or no kid, I'm out. A lot of stuff happened in my first marriage within the first 2 years. So, I mean, for us to have made it as long as we did, we literally were just kind of occupying each other's space and hoping. But
yeah.
But you know what? Y'all, it wasn't a waste of time because you met Marc from all of that.
And we talked about that. We just talked about how nice it's almost like a refreshing feeling. So this is the thing. Me and Marc do not argue. We talk about everything. And it's so weird because, you know, I'm always ready to set it off. But he's always like, he almost like you want to be mad and you can't be mad because he's like, listen, you know, I understand that you feel some kind of way and I just want to hear your side of it. And he listens. And this is something that I was like, oh my God, you know, you don't want to say no slick shit to me. And he's like, you know, I get it. You're mad about something. I don't want to make you upset with what I got to say, but I feel like I'm doing a disservice to you. Like he would hit me with that kind of stuff. I wasn't ready.
You ain't ready. But see, I think that's exactly what he was saying is that all the things that you went through before allowed you to really appreciate somebody that is giving you something different, that is really giving you that support and that love that you need. And it's such a beautiful thing. It almost is like, you know, what did I do to deserve this type of relationship? I feel like, man, I wish I would have had this a little sooner. I wish we would have had the experience of, you know, having a child together and you know, seeing the fruits of our relationship. And, you know, because I feel like this was for me. Right. But we both agree that we wouldn't have appreciated where we are now had we gotten together 15 years ago. Because we were real fly in high school. I mean, I used to try to throw it at him in high school, but he wasn't.
Preacher's kid, I'm telling you.
He wasn't catching it. He wasn't trying to catch my cues, but you know what I mean? I was trying. But I mean, if we would have got together in high school, we wouldn't be together now.
Yeah.
Like Marc sitting there all cool, like, I
told y'all.
I got a question.
Oh, go ahead. Go to.
Oh, my bad. I was going to say, I got a question for Jay Lee and Marc and Sheena. So, you know, since I'm in the ballpark of the 7-year itch, what exactly is the 7-year itch? Like, because for me, in my perspective, you know, I try to look at things from a logical perspective. If, you know, we have the habits of good communication, because I think most relationships fall apart because of bad communication. Oh, we have good communication, and you know, we listen to each other, we're there for each other, and nourish each other. So, you know, what is the 7-year? Because my mother-in-law, she said there's a 7-year, a 10-year, and a 15-year. She said you can make it past those, you're good to go. So, what exactly are those checkpoints? Like, what is the turbulence that comes about?
Well, I'll say to me, it's when you're finding yourself, basically. When you turn around and look at that person, you see who they are and you see who you are, and you're trying to figure out, are we really matching? You know, that's to me, that's that itch. You're like, or can I go and find somebody else that could fit who I am right now? Yeah. So that's why I feel that's that itch. And 5, 10, you grow and you turn into a new person. So, but it sounds like you and your wife have a really close knit and y'all communicate. So I agree, you might not have those issues as long as you communicate the way you are.
I would tend to say that those itches have to do with, traditionally people getting married in their early 20s. Then about 7 years later, you're hitting a milestone in life, around 30. And you're like, what am I doing with my life? And then, then you've been married 10 years. You're like, damn, am I with the right person?
Yeah.
Then, at 15, it's like, look, it's either
we're going to make it or we break it.
I'm going, yeah. So,
especially when you haven't lived a little.
Right. You get married in your early 20s. I mean, it's tough. I mean, I applaud you, Jay Lee, for making it as long as you do. That's a lot of growth, man. Like from a 20-something to like 40 years old. That's so much growth and change in who you are. To be able to go through that with one person is an awesome thing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And I mean, just looking at you and your wife, Jay, it is like inspiring to see that you guys started so young and all the pressures that come with it. So just like Jason said, when you get married and you hit that 7 year, you're finding yourself in that process, and then you're questioning, is this the right person to continue to grow with? And like I said, my relationship started really young. And in that 7 years before we were married, we did a lot of dirt, both of us. Going into it already at 7 years, I was like, yeah, it's true. It's an entanglement and an itch is the same.
Yeah. When you scratch, you're like, oh, that's entanglement.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's the thing. When you scratch that itch, that's exactly what you're doing.
Yes.
But just like Jay said, if y'all got good communication and you kind of say, this is who I am now. I didn't know how to express that, the first time around. But even for us, we came into it knowing what we did not want. We're learning what we like about each other on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. We're knowing, who handles money better, who's the better disciplinary, who is the more driven person and who has to be pushed a little bit. Who is the motivator and who is the slacker? Like, we're learning that as we go, but that having that good communication is what we needed for each other to kind of keep this thing going. If you have that, then I don't really think that you'll have to go through hard times.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna kind of disagree. You're gonna go through hard times. You listen to anybody that's been married a long time, they're going to tell you how much work it is and how tough it can be. So don't be scared of the hard times. You got to lean into them. You know what I mean? If you're running from them hard times, when it gets tough, you're going to run. You're going to keep running.
Yeah.
You got to stand firm, plant your feet in the ground, and be able to take that punch and work through it. You know what I mean? Because that 7 years is right around the corner. So get ready and prepare yourself. By talking to you, keep talking to your woman and, talk about the things that may scare you or something like that. Sheena and I were just talking the other day about, this same thing, how we appreciate each other so much because we're kind of the opposite of what our previous marriages were. Mm-hmm. So, are we kind of setting ourselves up for that 7 year when, that newness kind of rubs off? And, so I want to put out the things that are, a little scary for me or that I'm a little insecure about early so we can discuss it. Like, she doesn't make me feel bad or feel like I'm stupid for putting out the things that I'm insecure about. So, I think
that's a grown up relationship. That's why. That's
and vice versa. Like, I've never felt like I was so comfortable in my own skin until I got with him. You know, like you see people on the street and they like, oh, you know, Sheena, you look like this, and you doing this and you doing that. And I can come home and say, you know, I didn't feel comfortable with what I had on, or, you know, when I went to go sing somewhere, how do you think it sound? I didn't like how it sounded. He, you know, just that encouragement and just being able to do that, where you have other people like, oh yeah, you right. You know, it wasn't right, or, you know, you could do this to make it better. I just feel comfortable with being just who I am and feeling like I have that support. So it's a good thing.
Awesome. I appreciate all of y'all's responses to that. Yeah, for me, you know, I think part of the reason that I waited so long to get married is because the two things that I was actually afraid of in this life was being a husband and being a father. And that's just because of things that I witnessed growing up. And so, you know, like Marc said, you know, I understand that, you know, I haven't waved the storm or anything like that, you know, that we'll still have our different complications and things of that nature. But in my mind, I thought, you know, being older, because everybody I knew, they was younger. So I was like, well, if I'm older, I'll be a little bit more mature, and the person I'm with will be a little bit more mature. Maybe we can jump over some hurdles, you know, and skip some obstacles and whatnot. But, you know, I think now that I am a husband and a father, you know, I came to the realization that I can't study based off of other people's story. I have to write my own story. You know what I mean? And I have to lead my own path. And, you know, that's one of the things that, you know, I feel so appreciative about with my relationship with my wife, because we do have that good communication. We do have each other's back. And similar to what Marc and Sheena was saying, you know, we can talk about our sensitivities, vulnerabilities, and things of that nature. And, you know, there's nothing that I feel like I need to hide from my wife. Because, you know, like a lot of cats at the barbershop, you're like, man, you ain't got to tell her that. You know, man, I'm the man. You
Don't
know,
be listening to them.
Exactly.
Them barbershop dudes, don't do it.
And they'll be right at the barbershop with you when you be like, man, they ain't work out like I told you.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying, man. It's like, you know, the one thing that I've grasped through all my years is that I can't go off of what other people are saying for my life. You know, other people can't give the definition to what my marriage will be, what I am, what I will be, and things of that nature. But, you know, I digress, but I definitely want to appreciate, you know, the married couples, the veterans out here, you know, for giving me some guidance, giving me some gems. So appreciate y'all.
That was dope.
It's up. So I got a question for BMore in Detroit. We are all talking about marriage. Let's
it's static. I can't hear you. It's static. I think your reception. You got that Teddy Riley happening. I can't really hear you.
Let's talk about why you guys chose not to be married.
Did we choose that? I mean,
I didn't. Nah. Go ahead, B. Go ahead.
I knew you was gonna give it to me. I swear, you always got them hot buttery biscuits in your hands, bro. You slide them. Me personally, I think it's a sense of. I mean, to be honest, it was my ideas. My ideas when it came to marriage and everything, right? So I did it once. And after doing it once, I was like, why do it again? What do I really need this paper for? Me personally. I know a lot of people really believe in it. A lot, you know, my thought process is completely different on it. Especially now. Do I need that? And that's kind of where I'm at. I don't need that. If we together, I don't need nobody else to tell me what we are. And that's that for me.
How does your woman feel about that?
She don't say nothing.
She don't say nothing, but how does she feel about it?
I mean, as far as I know, she's fine with it. As far as I know, you know, because it was something that was mentioned before we even went further, before we even got in any type of relationship. It was. So
how long have y'all been together?
Shoot, we're going on. It's 10 years. 10 years now.
Okay.
So y'all got common law marriage.
Pretty much.
Well, there's no such thing as common law in New Jersey.
Not in Jersey.
So she mad. Oh, well. So how about you, Troy?
Yeah, he was trying to avoid that joint.
Oh, you said something to me? You was talking to me? What was that? What was that question again? What was it again?
Why aren't you married?
Um,
And how long have you guys been together? And why did you choose not to be married?
That's a whole lot of questions going on there. I get confused. I guess the examples that I had when I was growing up, they weren't really good examples of what a marriage is supposed to look like. So my perception or what I thought a marriage was like was always negative. The people that some of my best friends are divorced and they were in bad marriages. My uncles, my aunts, they were in bad marriages. So I always had a negative connotation of what a marriage was. So when I got with my significant other, I told this before to the brothers that I was actually broken from a relationship previously, and she came along. She helped me out. She helped me get through it, emotional wise. And at the time, we were kind of distant. I was in college. She was in college. We were kind of distant. So we were kind of growing up, not apart, but growing separately, and trying to learn ourselves, and at the same time. And then finally, when we got together and started living with each other, we had a child. Marriage was in the air, but it just never really happened. So, I mean, it's always come up in conversation. Why don't we get married? My grandmother always say, my mother, they always say, why don't you guys get married? But I'm to the point now, why we need that piece of paper. I know she wants it, but for me, I'm like, why we kind of need that piece of paper. So if you ask her, she wants it, and yeah, she's mad. She wants to be married. But for me, I'm like, I really don't need that piece of paper.
But knowing that,
why did you lean up though? Like sit back. You don't have to lean up.
It's getting hot there.
Yeah,
You know she's ready for the smoke. You already.
But no, I'm just saying. You said you know that she wants it. You know she probably mad about it. Just because it's not what you want, like to say that you want to stay and be in this relationship with you, how fair is that to her?
Yeah, I know, and I've talked to a couple of my better friends, and we've had that discussion, and I do believe it's the right thing to do. I do want to set a good example for the kids and my nieces and my nephews. I do want to set that good example because I'm not a bad guy. I've always seen bad people in bad relationships, but of course, Coburn, she's mad. So I mean, it's something I can still.
Who, me?
It's something I can still possibly have. No. You're talking about my. Yeah.
But he ain't married either, so he got all this mouth, but he ain't married either. So.
Exactly.
But you know what? Not for nothing, Troy. I respect your response because you know that the issue lies with you, and even you being
the issue is definitely me. I'm definitely the issue.
Even you being able to identify with that, it's something worth having that conversation with your girlfriend.
It's in your life.
But no, I think it's if it's something that she wants, and if this is somebody you really care about, and this is somebody that you can see yourself being with, if it's important to her, consider how important it is for you to make her happy or give her something that if you guys are going to be together anyway, why not?
Yeah. Okay. So I can pose that question back. Why? If they're going to be together anyway, why? Why is that so important?
Because that's something that's important to her. That's just like me saying.
So why?
But if it's important to her, only she can answer that question with him.
Well, I mean, from your perspective, because you asked the question from the beginning. So you must have some feelings towards it as well. So
no. So I already knew. Now, not for nothing. When me and Marc started talking, we talked based off of divorce. Like, I'm just fine with not getting married again. I did it. It was some bullshit. But I'm not against it. It's just that I don't expect it. I don't expect for it to happen again, and I'd be okay with it either way. But I knew that if it ever came to a point that I'm going to be building a life with somebody, I felt like that was important for me. Okay. It's the same thing if somebody comes to you and says, I don't want to have a baby, and you want to have a baby. And so you follow along and say, I can make them change their mind about, not wanting a baby. If they really want a baby, it's always going to be like a longing in their heart or, in their mind but this is what I really want. So, I hope so.
Bro.
I mean,
bro.
Detroit.
She's trying to break me because she's leaning up against the, she's leaning up.
But you know what? Though I talked all of that. I talked all of that when I got with Marc, and he was like, "No, I think that you're gonna, get married again. I think that that's, something that you value." And I did. It's something that I value. And I'm not saying BMore that your perspective is wrong. I'm not saying that. No, as long as your woman's okay with that, then that's fine. But Troy just said his woman was not okay with that. And if you love her and you care about how she feels and her position in your relationship, consider her feelings on marriage.
I mean, Detroit's story. Yeah, but Detroit, the way he gave his proposition or whatever about, the examples of other people's marriages and stuff. I mean, he basically said the same thing that I did in regards to how I looked at marriage, being afraid of being a father, being afraid of being a husband, because of, all the relationships. Like, there's not a relationship in my family that I'm like, you know what? They figured it out. They got it. It was all twisted and complicated, negative. That's what I associated it with, and I was scared of it. And, similar to what Sheena was saying, with my wife, that was something that she was into and really looking forward to and everything like that. So then that's when I had to really kind of take the stance of, what, regardless of everything that I've seen, I'm going to, give her this and define my story, define my path, and not look at it's basically like, it's almost like saying, like, for example, for me, I've been in a really bad car accident. But I still drive my car. I just got a new car. I'm still out there. I'm still doing it. I've seen other people have really bad car accidents, but, I'm still driving. I'm still out here in these streets. You know what I mean? So I look at it like that. I mean, and, no negativity to what you BMore or Troy.
I ain't taking like that at all.
Yeah. So I'm just saying my perspective. I just feel like, Troy's, kind of how he aligned his reasoning based on, the ramifications of other people's relationships and stuff like that. I mean, I understood that.
Yeah, me too. But that's just my take on it. Yeah. I mean, everything is compromised in your relationship. Everything is compromised.
So how do y'all?
I'll tell you what though. Between Jay Lee and his wife, between Marc and Sheena, yes. And also between Gordon he's married to. I tell you what though, you guys marriage should make people want to be married. Like I can see the strong bond you guys have, Sheena and Marc. I know Jay Lee and his wife have a very strong bond. They've been together for a long time. His parents been together for a very long time, so I know that bond is very strong. So you guys' examples right now are leading the way for me for what I could possibly see. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I always appreciate seeing people together. I do appreciate that. But like I've said before, my examples previously, it wasn't like that. It was just,
I think that you set your own example.
Yeah.
What you want and what you don't want. That's how we got into this marriage. We knew what we wanted in a sense, but we definitely knew what we did not want. And that's what determined how our marriage was going to be. And it's not based off of just, my parents' marriage, his parents' marriage and divorce, whatever. It's not about our previous marriages. It's about, okay, what do we want? And what do we got to do to keep that, image or keep that relationship the way we want it to be, not based off of nobody else. I got friends that have been together a long time with their spouses and their marriage sucks. But if it's for them, it's for them. I got people that have wonderful relationships that have never been married. So I totally get where you're coming from, BMore. But for us, it's your responsibility to make your relationship and your marriage the way you want it to be. It's nobody else's. No examples, no nothing.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I mean, you don't want it. I mean, and this is just a generality. I'm not speaking to Detroit or BMore or anything like that. So I don't want y'all to take.
How come you keep bringing my name up, though, B? You always bringing my name up. Y'all at my neck. Huh?
I'm just saying as a generality, though. I look at it like this. Just because somebody got beat up, by the bully down the street, that don't mean he gonna beat me up. I look at it from that perspective, because I think, a lot of guys, they look at it as like, oh, I haven't seen a good example of that, so I'm just going to avoid it, But, I look at it as though, why are we basing our story off of their situation? You know what I mean?
Because that's life.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's part of life.
If you see somebody fall out of a roller coaster, you about to jump on that roller coaster?
I mean, but it's the same way with us. We were on that roller coaster before. We fell out. So we should have, if anybody should have had a negative view of marriage, it was us. I
was married before, so it's not, you know what I mean? It's not like I ain't never been there before.
Right, but I'm not saying, what you experienced in your first marriage may not have been for you, but who's to say that even in the relationship you're in right now, if it's working for you and it's good for you, if you said marriage is just a piece of paper, then why not? Just like you said, why not? It's not going to change your marriage.
First of all,
it's not going to change your relationship.
It does. It changes a lot of people's relationship because it does. I know plenty of people that have gotten married.
But so once again, you're basing this on plenty of people. You're not basing this on you.
Okay, so you proposed something, and I was proposing an answer for that. I wasn't saying that that's going to happen. I wasn't saying that that's going to happen to me. I'm just telling you, you can't blanket it like, hey, if it's just a paper, do this, do that. I could go. That's all I'm saying. I could go.
That wasn't. Yeah, but I proposed the same type of question you proposed to me. When you said, why get married? You said, why not? I said, well, why not get married if you're going to stay together and be with that person? We both have different perspectives. We all have different perspectives on it. And that's fine. Whatever works for you, works for you.
Yeah. That's how I keep it.
So how do y'all feel about people that have been together for like 10, 15 years, get married, and then get divorced?
They knew that they probably shouldn't have been married. They knew they shouldn't have been together.
Is that
it's the same concept. Huh?
Is that what they knew, or did things change?
No. Like what? And I mean,
it depends on the example.
It depends.
Because, I was gonna say I know I had a coworker. She was telling me that one of her fellow employees was married for 27 years, and then he divorced his wife because he told her he was gay. I mean, there's very.
But I'm sure he didn't find out he was gay as soon as they got married. He knew he was gay for the last 27 years that they was married. It's just that he decided to be his authentic self, his true self.
That's what happens. When they get married.
That might not be true either, because just like Lee was saying, people change.
You ain't changed from being straight to gay.
I'm just saying.
I don't think you just be yearning for some Jimmy Dean all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man.
After you got married. Oh, I'm married.
I mean, he might.
You don't even believe that. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not for everybody. But people who get married after being in a relationship for a long time, a lot of time, and they divorce, a lot of times they already knew that their relationship wasn't good, and they thought that maybe getting married and making these vows to each other would change who they are. It shouldn't change who you are.
So
it shouldn't.
So Detroit, you hear me,
What's up?
Detroit?
Yep.
If you're not married, are you single?
The daily double.
So what are we talking about here? We're
No,
talking about
I'm saying if you're not married, are you technically single?
Is we finished or is we done?
Yeah, we finished and we done.
No, this is a good question.
No, it's not. It's not a good question. What are you talking about? Everybody know the difference between married and not married.
No.
Not
When you apply to a job, do you say married or single?
You single.
Well, you know what? That comes into play to say, well, if you're not married yet, there's always somebody that has a chance.
We know you're single, Miss Camp. Not only ask that because
She's shooting her shot. Go ahead.
I only ask that because I know when you talk about women wanting certain things, and they want marriage because it takes them out of that single category. Because as long as they don't have that ring, technically they feel as though they're still single.
Everybody's fair game.
That's why I asked that. How you felt about that? That's why. Yeah.
He got a tracking device on the girl now.
I feel like it's, you know,
Man, that's a good one.
I mean, some people feel like it's an opportunity, like to say, well, you know, even though we can be in a committed relationship, there's no ring on my finger. If something better comes along, I can just go.
Right.
There's definitely a difference right there.
Like food for thought. Okay. All right.
You don't got to go to court. You know what I mean?
And that goes both ways. I mean, a lot of people just say that men do it, but women, our attitude can be the same way. I don't owe you anything. You're not my husband. You know what I mean? And if something better comes along and I feel like that's the wave or that's the energy that I'm going towards, I don't owe you anything.
Exactly. And it should be the same way through marriage, but it ain't, because the courts get involved and then they got to tell you who gets this, who gets that. No thank you.
I swear when I get my business jumping, Sheena going to be my PR person.
Oh, man.
Just you know, it's just more so I just look at it by, you know, my experiences, things that I've seen. I'm probably an overthinker. I read too much, but I want to know. I think that's the one thing that's dope about us. Like, I'll have my perspective on something, and I love when he comes back with a different perspective. And then it makes me think. It makes me really ponder over what I believed or what I thought, you know? So I'm all for it.
So let's hear Marc now then, because he been quiet for a little bit. What are your thoughts on, you know, or when y'all got remarried or even thinking about that as being a possibility?
So I think while it's turned out to be incredible and it was amazing from the jump, you know, our decision to get married as quickly as we did was a little reckless. You know, if somebody else came to me, said, I've been dealing with, you know, this John and, you know, for the past, you know,
like for like
the past 9 months, and I think I want to marry her. Like, bro.
Like,
chill out.
Yeah.
It was quick.
Relax.
It was.
But, you know.
Me and Lee even got a little personal information on that one, too.
Yo, I was just thinking about that. We remember when she first started talking to you, we was all in Adelphia's, and she bounced on us. She was like, oh, gotta go. We was like, oh, who is this dude?
Oh, no, he getting got to go.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I knew you at that point. I don't even think I knew you at that point.
Yeah.
So it was like, so when we started talking, it was speaking of the entanglement situation, how fast it can go from being friends and just kind of giving each other advice. So when we met each other, I mean, I think the attraction was immediately there, but I just got divorced. Like literally, I think I was only divorced for like less than 6 months. And he was going through his divorce. So we were talking about divorce and how it's affecting our kids and, you know, the expectations that we had for marriage. We talked about we were both nurses and, you know, I was already an RN and he was thinking about going back to school. So it was me talking to him about school and encouraging him. So it was just like a true friendship. And at that time, you know, he was going through the rough time of his divorce and I was out in the streets, you know what I mean? So I was on a whole different path. And then the more I talked to him, the more we realized that we had in common. It was like, man, I have never had such a strong energy with somebody that I just knew. And I think I told him, and you know, I ain't never break no plans for at the time when I left Philadelphia, we was kind of just kicking it.
Yeah.
But honey, when that dude hit me with that text, I was like, yes, bye. So, you know,
hey, Mark, hold up. Hey, Mark, when I tell you we mid-drink, like, hold on. I got to go. Me and Jay, like, what you doing? You about to leave us here? Like, she gone, bro. Gone. Wasn't playing at all. I see y'all. Love y'all. Talk to y'all.
Yeah. But you know what? There was a lot of so when he was talking about when somebody else come along and say, I met this person and they got this going on. So first of all, Marc did not check the boxes of the type of relationship I wanted to be in. I knew I had 3 kids, but I didn't want to date nobody with kids. I didn't want to date nobody with baby mama drama. I didn't want to date again somebody who at the time made less than me. I had owned property. I wanted to date somebody that I can go to their house and stay the night. I didn't want to be in hotels creeping and all of that.
I was all messed up.
He was all I was like, you know, out of all the guys I can fall for, why am I trying to invest in this project? That's how I felt like it was. Like, it's a lot of stuff that he got to take care of before we can kind of be where we needed to be. And I'm telling you, it was like, it was just all falling into place to the point that every checklist that I thought I had, I just threw it out the window. And I said, I know this is right.
Thank you for saying that. Because so many people have boxes. I'm talking about men and women have boxes.
Yeah.
You need to get rid of them because sometimes that person, that box that you have, you know what I mean, to get you out of that realm of that person that you need.
Yes. Yes. And that's where I was. And I was saying, like, this is somebody I want to try with. This is somebody I want to invest my time and my energy into. So, you know, I think I said that I loved him first. Like, you know, on some, I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is this way, but I really think that I'm falling in love with you. And that joker went silent on me, and I'm like, oh!
You pushed out into a bliss, huh?
He hit me with the, you know, this was a good session and all. You know, I was like,
he's already checked my box.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, so that was scary. That was a scary moment for me. I think it felt like it was a lot longer than what it was. We joke about that all the time. Wow. But I'm glad that I kind of like threw away that what I expected from the next relationship, because it was definitely nothing like I expected, but better than I could have ever expected. This is better than I could have ever asked for.
That's awesome.
That's what's up.
I love seeing people in love. It's so dope.
It's dope. Just like the pictures you posted the other day.
What picture? Oh,
bro, I was invested, bro. I was invested. I was like, hold up, let me see.
The 2 strangers that met up.
Yeah.
Oh, they screwed that night.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Did you see that picture where he was holding her?
Yes.
Yeah, he had his fingers all up in her crap.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
And she was okay with it.
You can't fight love. You can't fight love, man. You can't.
She was about to have her third kid that night, and the conception was photographed.
Yeah. That was crazy.
For those that don't know, it was a photo shoot of two strangers together, two single strangers together, and their photo pictures just turned out like they was already married, they had kids, like it just looked like they had known each other forever. So just to give you a preface there. So
Nicole Camp says, so if you're previously thrown away expectations and been hurt, can you safely have check boxes now?
You can have what you want, but everything there's always somebody that comes along and makes you question.
Check boxes limit you.
Yeah.
Wow.
If you're willing to risk, dealing with somebody who doesn't check a box, what they say, a big risk, big reward. We took a risk getting into this, a big one, especially getting our kids involved. We got this blended family. We introducing our kids to each other. Like, it was a big risk, but so far it's paid off. And, we're going to continue to work hard to make it continue to pay off, for the long run. So, but I also understand when you're hurt, that puts up a wall and you don't want to be hurt again. Some of that pain is hard to shake off. Mm-hmm. But, I encourage people to not be scared to be hurt again. You only got one life to live. Mm-hmm.
So I think the one thing I did not want to be hurt again with is having no pop-up babies. So we fixed that problem early on.
Got that vasectomy, huh?
Got that killer V, huh?
Okay.
No, I mean, I was taking care of that shit before.
No,
I got divorced. I was like, look, I ain't having no more babies.
Yeah,
I'm about to be out in these streets.
Yeah, that was one of the first conversations we had on So our first date lasted like 5 hours. We was like at the bar getting drunk, talking about at Applebee's. We was there from like, I don't know if it was 5 hours, 4 hours, from like 10 to 2 in the morning. We closed Applebee's down and we were talking about everything. That was one of the one question that we asked from the jump, like, do you want any more kids? And I was like, hell no. And he was like, no. And our kids were big. So like, who wants to start all over again? Yeah. And so he got done first and I got done second.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So if we have a baby, we naming him Jesus.
Jesus Christ. If that's the only way we're going to have a baby around here.
That means he was meant to be here.
Don't name him Jesus. Name him Yahshua.
Yeah. Whatever. It ain't going to come. So we get to enjoy grandbabies and give them back whenever they come.
Oh, go to, you don't have no kids yet, right?
Yeah, I got a son.
Yeah, you do have a son. Oh, you got the baby. You got the baby.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he 1.5.
1.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love babies, but I don't want none.
Oh, you want babysit?
No, I don't babysit either. I like them. I like to hold them. I like to kiss them, and I like to give them right back.
She picks them up and puts them right back down.
Yeah, I'm great for gifts, though. So invite me to all the parties.
Oh, okay.
All right. I appreciate everything. But to a little bit answer Nicole's question, I think certain boxes are different. Like if you say like, "Hey, I don't want to date a crackhead," like that's a box you should probably keep.
That's a box to always keep.
Yeah, I don't want my chin as a punching bag.
You know what I mean? So, and there's some boxes that you could give way on, like, "Hey, I don't want a short person." Like you might want to give that a little leeway. I think there's some boxes that you can definitely keep.
Yeah, like superficial boxes are definitely up for compromise.
Exactly.
But first of all, if you say I don't want to date nobody who is not super physically attractive, a lot of girls will say that. I ain't about to date no guy and he's not fine. And I'm like, well, what's your example of fine? Like when you were 20, fine, or some girls say I only want to date dark-skinned men, or I only want to date light-skinned men. Same thing with men. I only want to date, Spanish girls or light-skinned girls, or they have a type. And there's nothing wrong with having a type.
But you're limiting yourself.
You could be blocking a very good relationship for dumb stuff like a type.
Yep.
Same thing with a job. Most of my friends are nurses, and we make pretty good money depending on what field you work in. So to say I want a man who's going to make what I make or more, I mean, it's slim picking sometimes. But I think that as long as you have a working man, that shows a lot maybe for his character. And if you have a guy who's starting a business, he might not have a lot of money, but the ambition and the motivation to be a business owner should be commended. Like, they are all things that you should consider. But everybody got their thing. If you got a box that you will not waver on, then so be it.
So, but when hey Lee, what's that movie that talks about stuff like that? You know that movie that Troy don't like?
Oh, think like a man.
Yeah.
All right, so we're at an hour 45.
But real quick, Marc, by Sheena making a lot more money than you when you first got together, did that give you a drive to go out and achieve more?
Well, I mean, I had already started on the plan going back to school.
Okay.
So
I was before you got with her, you had already started that plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had already started taking classes and stuff like that. So I knew it wasn't going to be long before I got there. I mean, she gave me a little bit of fuel though, to be honest, to stop fucking around.
Right.
Start the red tape.
Yeah. Don't make it red. Make it another color, please.
Yeah. You know what? For me, it was a little scary. I came in, even after my divorce, I was still pretty financially stable, financially secure. His divorce was horrible. It was like bleeding him dry. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm not about to help you with this. This is not my problem. But, at the same time, it was a lot for me to say, are you willing to take that on too? Because even us being in that relationship, getting married, and him wanting to do things with his kids and, not having the money and not, having so many responsibilities, and I got to pay the lawyers, so I can't do these activities. And here I am like, well, I'm about to go on vacation, so I don't know what you're about to do. So it was just me having to say, okay, I know that you're taking care of your priority now, and I'm being frivolous, wanting to do stuff, same thing. Like when we were dating one night, he was like, listen, I would love to take you out, but on some real shit, I'm broke. I ain't got it. Right, and I was like, oh, bet, I can burn, and I got liquor, so come over.
That's it.
It was a great night too.
I bet it was.
I bet it was.
So since you said that, y'all know about Dr. Dre getting divorced.
I heard about that. He was married for a long time.
How do y'all feel about prenups?
Yes. Especially when you're at that level.
When you're at that level, yeah.
Oh shoot.
Well, yeah, if he bringing the bank, you know what I'm saying? He needs a prenup. I mean, if somebody that's a millionaire, billionaire, and the person that you with, they making $5.99 at their job an hour, you probably won't need a prenup so they don't become rich just because they was in a relationship with you. You know what I mean?
So
I think that even with the prenup, there is like that growth clause in the prenup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like he is entitled to live a certain way, based off of the fact that she was his wife for so many years. She's entitled to live a certain way. Even if they had a prenup or not, she's entitled to live a certain way. I just hate to hear about the divorces and like the woman is like, I need 5 cars and my kid needs $80,000 a month, just so we can live. And I'm like, where the fuck are you living? Like, what are you doing? And then what have you done within that marriage that you did not secure yourself? in a way that if this marriage ended and you're only limited to a certain amount of money to provide for you and your kids, then what?
Right.
You know what I mean? Then what?
And that's true. She was married to an NBA basketball player before she got with him.
Yeah.
And
so
she's a lawyer. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, at the end of the day, it's you take that into consideration too. Like, look, just don't do me dirty. You expect the person not to do you dirty. Like, but I think that we've seen it plenty of times that people do you dirty in a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
So having a prenup especially when you're at that level is a must.
Yeah, when you're at that level, I think, a lot of people are attracted to you because they know who you are and what you have.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But y'all all agree that spousal support should be a must.
Depending on the lifestyle that they had. Like,
I think it depends completely.
Well, like I said, it does depend. So if she was a housewife and her only job after you got married was to take care of your children, that's her job.
True.
So after you're divorced and she's still the caretaker and she cannot work because her priority focus is making sure I'm going to stay home for my kids until they are, adults or until they graduate high school. It was okay for her to be a homemaker while she was married to you. Don't limit her to say, okay, well, you got to get a job in 2 years. I'm sorry, but if I have little children, you're going to wait until they graduate if it was okay for me to be a homemaker while I was married to you. Now, it depends on how ridiculous that spousal support is, but it shouldn't be to where they go to daddy house and he got the big TVs and they living good and they going to want to stay with dad because living with mommy in the apartment sucks. That it's unfair. It's unbalanced. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's a whole nother situation in itself right there.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I'll tell you what. It's been nice. It's been real.
Been a blast.
Yeah, man, it's been a blast.
I'm glad you guys had us. I had fun.
Thanks for having us
on. It's definitely been one of our better shows. For our new guests, what we like to do at the end of our podcast, we always like to give a final thought of the podcast, anything that you want to get off your chest. So I want to turn to the couple, Marc and Sheena. What are your guys' last words to the fans out there?
You say.
Thanks for coming out.
God bless.
I like it. Hey, Gordo, man, appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, appreciate y'all too, man.
Definitely.
All right, man. We'll see you on the flip side. All right.
All right, man.
All right, peace.
Peace.
See you guys.